ACY America presents Worldview Radio with Brannon Howse.
Welcome, glad you're with us. Well, I don't know about you, but my heart's a little heavy today. It has been for the last few days watching what's going down in Iran. But today we have numbers that are just really unbelievable. But I think they're true. I don't want to believe it because we're talking about a mass slaughter. 12,000 killed in Iran. That's the number that's now being documented. And that doesn't count all the people that have been injured, and it doesn't count all the people that have been arrested, that are sitting in jail. And who knows what's happening to them, right? Beatings, etc., torture. We're also being told that people are being rounded up who are not even involved in the anti-regime protest. That apparently the regime now is simply trying to send a message, terror. They're losing control. In many regards, they've lost control, and they're going to try to use terror to cause the people to stay at home. They reportedly, Annie Cyrus is going to join us here in a minute. She's been telling us that and we played the video of one of the leaders there in Iran telling parents and grandparents, uncles and aunts, keep your kids off the streets. And if they get shot, you better not complain. Because we're telling you now, keep your kids off the street. And now we find out that many of those that are being killed weren't even on the street, according to reports. They're simply rounding up people to show a big stack of bodies. Now, President Trump put out a message that he was not going to tolerate the regime murdering these young people. And now he has put out a tweet telling them to keep going, that help is on the way. So I would think that in the next few hours, we should be seeing something happen. I can't imagine this is going to drag on into Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. It could, but I would think right now they must strike Iran. Now, I want to be very clear here because I was not for striking Iran originally with the 12-day war. I wanted Israel to handle it. And so I don't want to be, flip-flopping back and forth. And I think Annie agreed with that. Let Israel handle it. What we didn't want was the American government getting in there, creating problems for us with potential terror cells here in the U.S., but also having the U.S. control who stays in power and who leaves. We don't want to see another puppet regime go in there. We want the Iranian people to choose freedom and to choose their leader. But things have now switched and changed because we clearly are having chaos in the streets of America. And this is not only the CCP, okay? Can we be very clear about this? I know a lot of my guests, they really focus in on the Chinese Communist Party, and rightfully so. But this is not just the CCP. Iran is behind this, along with others as well. What you're seeing in the streets of America is also coming from the same, red, green, black, green, whatever you want to call it, alliance we've been warning about for years. And now we see the Islamists are taking over Dallas. They've already taken over Minnesota. They've taken over Michigan. They're taking over Dallas, Texas. They're taking over Houston. They're targeting Tennessee. And to his credit, tonight on the Worldview Report, I am going to cover something that Secretary of State Marco Rubio said about Islam. My only area of disagreement is when he refers to it as radical or extremist Islam. But I'm going to give him a pass on that. Because I'm just thankful he said what he did about Islam. And that their goal is a global caliphate. That America is perceived by them as being the great Satan. Accordingly, JD Vance is whispering in the ear of the president not to strike Iran, have nothing to do with this. Well, I would guess not. Isn't he buddies with Tucker Carlson? Doesn't Tucker Carlson's kid work for JD Vance? I don't trust JD Vance. I think he has shown a complete lack of discernment at so many levels. Not to mention, I just cannot get past some of the things he said about President Trump. I'm not talking about disagreeing. I disagree sometimes with President Trump. But some of the ways he's described President Trump, I'm like, how do you pick this guy to be your VP? Oh, well, people change. Yeah, but when someone compares you to Hitler, that's a problem. So I don't think President Trump should have listened to Tucker or Don Jr. and chosen Vance, but I guess they needed Ohio for the Electoral College. But I don't trust JD Vance with his Palantir buddies and all those guys. But thankfully, there's Marco Rubio saying the truth about Islam. And again, Marco tends to be a kind of a neocon. But he's right, what he's saying about Islam. And I'm glad he's saying it. I commend him for saying it. I thank him for saying it. We're at a point here, folks, where the money between the CCP, Iran, Qatar, we're at a tipping point in America. We've got to do something about these alliances that are trying to destroy America from within. And whether it's President Trump trying to stop the slaughter of Christians in Nigeria or stop the slaughter of these young people in Iran. I'm not for boots on the ground and getting involved in every skirmish in the world. But when your enemies are killing young people, I don't know how you just stand by and watch this. There's a fine line here. It's easy to play Monday morning quarterback. It's a difficult job the president has, any president, but particularly this one with all this going on in the world. And sometimes he makes decisions I really applaud. Other times I don't applaud. I question or even disagree with. We better pray for President Trump because the poor guy is probably hearing it. 5 advisors telling him 10 different things. And I'm all for America first and not getting involved and entangled in foreign wars. But as I said, watching these kids be slaughtered, shot in the face. When you know that this regime is heavily involved in funding and creating these kind of terror cells in the U.S., what they're doing in Iran to those young people, they want their folks to do here in America on the ground. To the Sunday people and the Saturday people. So I'm trying to be consistent. I'm certainly being straightforward and honest because I'm trying to tell you, wait a minute, I know I was saying one thing about going in on the 12-day war, but things have changed. Things have changed a little bit. Now we're talking about the slaughter of potentially 12,000 plus. And what is clearly in our streets in Minneapolis and other places, a coordinated effort by enemies foreign and domestic to bring that kind of slaughter onto our shores. Joining me now is Annie Cyrus. And by the way, where are all the leftists who are screaming and hollering about Gaza? Where are they now? Where are all the folks that are concerned about ICE and the violation of human rights? Where are they now? They're silent because it doesn't fit the narrative. Islam is peaceful, don't you know? Why do the left love Islam? Because many on the left are deranged. They're fools, dark-hearted fools, Romans 1. vain, useless, and futile in their thinking. Others on the left know exactly what they're doing. And the enemy of my enemy is my friend to bring down the West. That's why they're not going to say anything. They don't want you afraid of all the mosques going up in the country. As the young people are burning them down, we're building them up. They can't tell you the truth about Islam. They don't want you to see the truth about Islam in Iran because they want that beachhead to be conquered here in America. And then the black-green axis, red-green axis will figure out who's in control. They're not going to talk about it because they want to continue to camouflage Islam so they can use it as a battering ram in the West to destroy our Judeo-Christian system and form of government, our constitutional republic, all in the name of tolerance. They want to use Islam. And then say, oh, no, you've got haters out there, Islamophobes like Brannon Howse and Annie Cyrus and Shahram Hadian and Usama Dakdok. We got to pass legislation like they have in the UK so we can go around and arrest these people. They need Islam. They need us to push back against Islam. They need us to push back against the LGBTQ agenda so they can then label us as haters and then prosecute free speech. They hate free speech. They hate freedom of religion, the freedom of the press. Notice the deafening silence from the left on the murder of over 12,000, most of them young people. We're staying on it. We've been on it. We're staying on it. From this broadcast to my other programs, we are not getting off this topic. And JD Vance can't even come out and say, I'm sorry, Tucker Carlson might be my friend, but when it comes to what he's saying about Christians, that evangelical Christians are the people he despises the most, I disagree with him. When he comes out and defends Qatar and Islam and Hamas, that's just a political organization, I think. Tucker's wrong. But JD's not saying that. JD Vance, in my opinion, is revealing that he's a coward. He's trying to have it both ways. He doesn't want to rock the boat too much. He wants to try to walk the fence line and have everybody's support, everybody's favor. That's not what a leader does. A leader stands on principle. A leader stands on morality. And again, I would ask you to pray for President Trump. I would pray that he would not hear the words of JD Vance. He would ignore JD Vance. If JD Vance is going to be defending people like Tucker Carlson, bringing him into the White House, and listening to this. We come back, we're going to go right away to Annie Cyrus, get a response and a report from her, because President Trump might be on the verge of launching.
News is moving faster than ever, and so are we. Worldview Tube brings you 24/7 live stream coverage and now real-time alerts when it matters most. Once you have the Worldview Tube app installed, exit the app and navigate your way to Settings. In Settings, locate the tab labeled Notifications. Select the Notifications tab. Scroll down until you locate the Worldview Tube app icon. Select the tab, and here you can turn on and customize your notification experience for the Worldview Tube app. News doesn't wait, and neither should you. Turn on push notifications to stay informed. Every headline as it happens.
You're watching Worldview Tube, built on the 35 years of Worldview books, documentaries, research, high-profile interviews, and the radio and television broadcasts of Brannon Howse.
All right, welcome back. Glad you're with us. Worldview Radio, website worldviewradio.com. We've got a clip coming in here from President Trump. Is he in Dearborn, Michigan today, guys? Has anyone vetted this clip? Well, someone better listen to it because, sometimes he drops a word or two we can't put on the air. Let's go right away while we vet that clip. I didn't realize he was in Dearborn. That's kind of interesting that he's in Dearborn, Michigan, which is such a hotbed for Islamists. And he's taking questions on striking Iran. Joining me now is former Iranian Annie Cyrus, liveuptofreedom.com, liveuptofreedom.substack.com. My opening monologue, Annie, your thoughts, your comments, please.
You made all the points, and you're right. As an Iranian, I am puzzled. How can anyone, not even Iranian, how can they watch what's happening and keep quiet because there's a narrative to follow? We're humans. Even in the times where an incident costs one's life, who was at fault, we have always said it is tragic and our heart goes out to their families. Now, these kids, they're genuinely fighting for what 90% of left from Summer of Love to today have screamed on the streets of the freest country in the world. For them to be quiet, it's pretty discouraging as a human. And I do want to make something very precise. The 12,000 plus confirmed are only the numbers up to January 10th.
Oh, my.
January 11th, 12th. Sorry. That's only until the 10th. We're waiting for the last 3 days confirmation of numbers to come in.
Here is President Trump in Dearborn, Michigan today, just moments ago. Here we go.
Business went through the roof.
You said to Iran this morning that help is on the way for protesters. What did you mean by that? What kind of help?
You're going to have to figure that one out. I'm sorry.
How many
people have been killed in Iran?
Nobody's been able to give me an accurate number. I have heard numbers from everything's a lot. One is a lot. But I've heard numbers much lower and I've heard numbers much higher. We'll be knowing. We're probably going to find out over the next 24 hours. I think it's a lot.
In your first
It's too many, whatever it is.
Well, too many. He's right. Who do you think is consulting him on this? Who's whispering in his ear? And are you concerned, like I am, that JD Vance is not, are you concerned about JD?
Of course, I'm concerned about JD. I am extremely concerned about Rudy Giuliani. I'm very concerned about Qatar and Saudi Arabia. I'm further concerned about al-Shura. As far as in the house, in White House, those around him, unless two people from outside that I trust to have the right opinion, anybody in there is going to give him the wrong advice. But as I said on don't know when, where, but I said that this is one of those times that if I were the president, I would go in a room, close the door, kick everybody out, and I would pray. And I would pray, and I would pray, and I would ask Lord to guide me. I would not listen to a single human being. I would just listen to Lord's guidance, because this is, again, as you know, I have criticized him with his deal of Islamization and all of that, but this is one of those times that no human has the right answer. And the right thing to be done for the right reason can only be heard through prayers. And as much as I'm praying for him all day today, I posted his truth post. And I asked, is this the help people need? Because yes, help is in the way, on its way, but time matters. At 9:16 Eastern time tonight, Erfan and 100 plus others will be hanged.
And the first name you mentioned was the first young man who went on social media against the regime. He will be hung at 9:16 Eastern Standard Time tonight.
Correct. Plus 100 some who will be hanged at the same time.
And they're going to televise it, right?
I don't think they're going to televise it, but there's a good chance Erfan himself will be publicly executed. My guess is they might try to do it at Punak in Tehran, which was the most loud city. But I don't think they're going to televise it until later, meaning they're going to play screenshots or pictures of the execution. But it seems like it's going to be public, and you have, if Lord willing, if it is the case, A few days ago, you asked me a question, and I said Tuesday around 5 p.m. Eastern time is when I think this strike is happening. So I'm still holding hope that logically, based on information out there, by 5 p.m. Eastern time today, the strike will take place, which could very well stop the execution of the 100 plus who are lined up for tonight to lose their life.
Now, I'll let you speak for yourself, but I've already said, look, I'm not trying to flip-flop here. I wanted the U.S. to stay out of the 12-day war. I wanted Israel to do the job. If they, some say, well, they needed our bombers to do it. Okay, that's fine. We come swooping in, drop some bombs, whatever. But I wanted us to stay out of this and let Israel finish the job and do the job for multiple reasons. Now I'm saying I want America to go in. Is that flip-flopping? No, the situation is completely different now. The situation has completely changed, not only in Iran, but it's changing very quickly on the ground here in America. And would you agree with me that this warrants a different position now, number one? Number two, that what's happening on the ground here cannot all just be blamed on the CCP. There is Islamic, Qatar, Iran money, I believe, heavily involved in this. And we have got to do something about this regime, not only for the 12,000 plus that have been murdered, but what they're doing here in America. Would you agree that this is not flip-flopping, that the scenario has now changed, and therefore we have to adjust accordingly?
Absolutely, 100%. On the Substack I released this morning, which is more of an op-ed, I mentioned there are three possible outcomes, but two of them involves American military strike, and I'm hoping the first one happens, but this isn't a war between Iran and some other country. This is a pattern that has repeated itself for 47 years. And as much as I've been trying to stay grounded today after hearing the confirmed numbers, don't forget about 47 years. The 12,000 is what we hear about two days ago reported. But for the last 47 years, way more than 12,000 have been killed, either during uprisings or just simply for going against the regime as an individual. I should also mention, you said something. Those who they are going door to door. I have this confirmation. They're going door to door looking for a Starlink devices. If you have one in your house, in your possession, you're being arrested, taken in, or some are disappearing, which is include those numbers you said. Some were not even on the streets. They were arrested and killed. The Starlink device is now a cause for death.
So having a Starlink device is cause for being killed.
Yes, they had. I got the alert very early night into like 1:30, 2 o'clock at night that they're going door to door looking for satellite dishes and the Starlink devices, and anyone who has it is handcuffed, taken. Some have been tracked into detention centers. Some have disappeared. So this is what we're dealing with. And I will be forever grateful if President Trump orders this strike in the right way, but I would feel more safe and confidence if this strike was actually led by Netanyahu through Israel.
We are getting reports right now that the Saudi channel Al Arabiya is reporting flights from Baghdad to Tehran have been canceled.
Flights from Tehran to Baghdad have been canceled.
Mm-hmm. From Baghdad to Tehran, yep.
No, reverse.
Okay.
Well, it automatically reversed itself as well, but first was from Iran to Baghdad, from Tehran to Baghdad, and then automatically they canceled anything coming from Baghdad as well. Also, international flights to European countries have also been all canceled. Of course, many European countries have been screaming to their citizens, get out of Iran immediately. Canada.
President Trump is saying that. Have we vetted this last 11-second quote, Logan? Okay, here's President Trump saying the same thing today from Dearborn, Michigan. I think he's at a car factory. Here we go.
I would say they could. It's not a bad idea. I think they should get out.
Okay, he's saying that allies should get out of Iran.
Yes.
American allies get out of Iran. We're also hearing that it's being reported that over the weekend, Steve Witkoff met secretly with Prince Pahlavi. Are you hearing this?
I reported that. Yes, it was. Well, it wasn't so much of secretly. It was a confidential, meaning it was just, closed doors, behind closed doors. But yes, and that goes to, let me take a breath here. On your program last night, Brannon Howse Live, you played a video of some leftists interviewing Crown Prince Pahlavi, trying to blame him for what's happening. And then I had messages coming. Many said, if you watch the whole interview, Crown Prince Pahlavi mentions, he is asked, are you in direct contact with anyone from the administration? He said yes. And people are like, well, he's making things up. I'm like, he is not. He did meet with Witkoff. Witkoff as part of the administration, so he wasn't lying. But yes, they did meet over the weekend. No information is released about the meeting, however. What was discussed, nobody knows.
We're also being told, well, that's a good step, though. We're also being told that France is ordering and telling its people to get out of Iran as well. So clearly, they all know something's coming.
Canada, Australia.
Is now urging. Canada is now also urging people, leave Iran now. I mean, how many hours warning did they give these folks? I mean, most of this stuff is coming out in the last 27, 28 minutes, these reports. So
no, Canada put out the call of immediate evacuation around 8:30 Eastern time in the morning.
This morning? Okay. So the reports then are just what they're timestamped with the news reports.
Well, our media apparently has decided that either they're going to triple check everything or they're just going to delay all reporting. That's what they do. They delay reporting. Don't know why. But no, Australia put out the call, their morning time of their local time, which would have been middle of the night in America. And Australia and Italy were the first countries to put out the call, followed by England. Of course, the England scenario was different because they received a call from Iraqi with threats, and they witnessed how Iranians are almost taking over the embassy in London. So they called for their people to evacuate Iran ASAP. Same with France, with Italy, Australia. All of them are telling their people to get out. And yes, it is the knowledge of, or even potential of a strike also for the regime now going door to door. Foreigners are going to be spotted very quickly, even if they don't go to streets, wherever they're staying, even at a hotel, doors are being knocked at. So foreigners are going to start being picked up and disappear from there. So that's another reason they're telling everybody to evacuate. I've seen a couple of videos of they were sent from other countries after they're evacuated at airports saying, I'm Canadian, I just evacuated, or I'm from, heading back to Germany. Germany also called for evacuation. So before all flights are canceled.
President Trump tweeted out, or social media, Iranian patriots, keep protesting. That's in all caps. Take over your institutions. That's all caps, 3 exclamation points. Save the names of the killers and abusers. They will pay a big price. I have canceled all meetings with Iranian officials until the senseless killing of protesters stops. Help is on the way. MIGA, make Iran great again. Well, if he's saying save the names of the killers and the abusers, this seems to be like it's going to be more than a strike. It sounds like there's going to be something going in there to try to hold these people accountable. I want to see what Andy thinks of that.
You woke up with a sore throat and a low-grade fever. You know you are getting sick, so here's your choices. You can get sicker and miss work, try to see a doctor this week, or sit hours in a crowded waiting room at urgent care.
I have a smarter option for you. Open your medical emergency kit. Match your symptoms to doctor-recommended prescription in your booklet and take the right meds now and get well faster.
This is not a first aid kit. It's like having an urgent care in your home. It includes doctor-prescribed medications to treat over 39 medical issues like respiratory infections, strep throat, pneumonia, UTIs, and more.
No waiting to see the doctor and no standing in line at the pharmacy. It's right here.
Every home should have at least one medical emergency kit, and here's how to order.
Go to worldviewhealthcare.com. Your kit to treat dozens of common and serious illnesses is rushed to your door. worldviewhealthcare.com. That's worldviewhealthcare.com.
The emergency kit available at worldviewhealthcare.com. Make sure you don't have to go to urgent care. I got pneumonia. I didn't have to go. I took this last year. Stayed at home. Went to bed. And the body bags are just too numerous to count. families having to unzip those black body bags, see if their loved one is in there. And Annie was telling us last night, they're then required to pay $2,000 to get the body of their loved one. Annie, liveuptofreedom.com, liveuptofreedom.substack.com. Annie, why do you think President Trump is saying save the name of the killers and the abusers? They're going to pay a price. Is that because he's going to, he knows the incoming administration, the incoming government will then do something about that? Who's going to be distributing justice on behalf of these people when he says, look, get their names, they're going to pay a price? Who's going to deliver justice here?
Say this, but if you read the lines again, and if you recall, the last call to action by Crown Prince Pahlavi was keep the streets, take the institutions, and he also gave a shout out to all enforcement that if you join people, you will be set free. If you are against them, every single one of you will be arrested and punished for your crimes against Iranian citizens. This truth social writing is an emphasis of what Prince Pahlavi put out Friday night already.
Let's see. Let's go to worldviewreport.com, worldviewreport.com. Let's see what else we got over there. Here we go. From Kanye to Nick Fuentes and Megyn Kelly, why JD Vance's silence matters now. It's an article over at aljamir.com. In moments of political stress, the most revealing test of leadership is not rhetoric, but refusal. What a leader will not tolerate, what he or she will not excuse, what they will not leave unnamed. That is why Vice President JD Vance's persistent failure to confront anti-Semitism on the populist right must be treated as a primary concern, not a side issue. In a recent interview with Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly spoke approvingly of Nick Fuentes, an openly anti-Semitic extremist who praised Hitler, embraced totalitarianism, and argued that Jews should be excluded from the American civic life. Kelly described Fuentes as very smart and suggested his ideas had value for the country. Carlson appeared to agree. Within 24 hours of that exchange, Candace Owens reposted Keon West's infamous DEFCON 3 on Jewish people tweet and called it a vibe. This is not fringe behavior leaking into the mainstream. It is the mainstream, and it's happening inside the political ecosystem that Vice President Vance now helps lead. Vance's ties to Carlson are not incidental. Carlson is not merely adjacent to Vance's politics. He is a close ally, and Vance even employs Carlson's son. Carlson's reach, tens of millions of people each week across podcasts, clips, and social platforms, is enormous. That influence now includes the normalization of figures and ideas that were once considered politically radioactive. And he's calling on Vance to speak up, but Vance up to now said, well, he's my friend, and I don't agree with all my friends on everything. Well,
there's a difference, First of all, if you're friends with someone who is being featured on Islamic Republic of Iran's broadcast, you should question your own judgment.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that genuine. It's not about, yes, me and you don't agree on everything either, but we do agree on the fundamental values of life.
Yeah.
So, and also, again, I go back to JD Vance. I really don't know why he is the vice president. What is his resume? Where did he come from? Why did he suddenly become such a quote unquote patriot? And for anyone, I've heard too many big names already endorsing him for 28. And I'm like, but why? I thought we do that based on experience and credibility and resume and policy. I'm sorry, but people might like his attitude or his pictures, but he doesn't have any of the qualifications that would make him a good candidate for 28.
Let's open up the phone lines. What do you, listening friends, think we should be doing about what's happening in Iran? And do you agree that we're to a point now where we have to deal with Iran? I wish we would deal with Qatar, but we have to deal with Iran because of the things that they're encouraging and funding to create chaos in America and the mosque being built here, although I know a lot of them are being funded by Saudi Arabia. That's a whole nother topic. 1-800-347-9829. 1-800-347-9829. I saw an article, Annie, about the Christian population in Iran, how much it has shrunk. I'm hearing now that it's down to 6 figures. What are you hearing?
That is not true. Okay. What you're reading is public information. But in reality, in last 4 years, the population of Christians in Iran who are behind closed doors, they're now coming out, removing their hijab, wearing their cross and screaming, I have found Jesus. But it has actually grown as the fastest growing number in Iran.
Well, isn't that usually what persecution does, is brings revival? So you're saying Christianity is actually exploding in Iran, but the public numbers are going down because the people are not publicly coming out and saying they converted. They're still wearing their hijab and conforming, and I can certainly understand why. But so the public numbers, yes, it looks like Christianity is going down because the number of self-professing Christians is going down, but the number of Christians who are basically underground, the underground church is growing.
It dramatically, I mean, by millions, it's growing. Last 4 years has been historic. Even before, even back in the time, we didn't have this number of those who are coming to Christ.
How many of these young people in the street do you think are or were Christians, the one that have been murdered?
That's really hard to say, but I can tell you, I can give you a different answer. I can tell you 9 out of 10 of them were not Muslims. That much I can tell. I have seen very few videos of some of the protesters actually wearing a cross around their necks. At this point, I mean, it comes back to I have nothing to lose. When they catch me, they kill me either way. So I'm gonna show who I am, and I'm gonna trust whatever is coming. I have seen few, but honestly, it would be very hard for me to guesstimate the number. I know 9 out of 10 are not Muslims, and that one who is a Muslim is like Sharam's father kind of Muslim, who's, has a girlfriend and drinks beer, and at the end of the day just goes on with life. It's clear the number 25 mosques burning down in Iran, that tells you where people are going with their faith. But can I?
Yes.
Can I add something?
Today we have the Supreme Court, I guess, is hearing a case over banning men and women's sports. So Supreme Court is about to maybe uphold the red state bans on men and women's sports. And yet we're getting some very foolish audio coming from some of the leftists on the court related to this topic. Isn't this something at a time when we're watching what's happening in the world? Our Supreme Court is actually having to debate whether a man should be considered a woman.
That's why for many years I have said freedoms come with responsibility. When you cross every line under banner of freedom, not understanding freedoms are yours, but there are boundaries, you end up here. And also, as you said on your monologue, as Iranians are burning down mosques, we're funding more of them in America and cheering neighbors show up for the grand opening, and non-Muslim women wear the hijab to just go in and see how it looks like, not understanding what this building's going to do to them in 5 years, 10 years, 47 years, or longer. It just shows, forgive me for what I'm about to say, but it is the truth, so I'm going to say it. It just shows how far numb and spoiled Americans have come to where they can't see the threat, even if it stirs them in the eye for 2 weeks all over social media.
And yet that's exactly That's exactly what Yuri Bezmenov said. The former KGB officer expert on propaganda said they will become so brainwashed, you could take them to the gulags and show them, and they still will not believe.
Exactly.
He said they will only believe when it happens to them personally. And then, of course, it's too late.
Exactly.
Let's go to the phone lines. They're lit up. John, Sam, Joe. All right, let's start out with line 1. Was that John? Line 1, John?
That was John.
That was John, line 1. He's gone from New Jersey. Let's go to Sam. Well, that means a phone line just opened up, folks. 1-800-347-9829. Sam, line 2. Thank you for calling in, Sam.
Yes, I'd like to ask your guest, do you perceive to see someone coming up from this trouble in Iran like the great king of Persia of the ancient days?
That is the hope. That is the prayer. Yes, we do have Crown Prince Pahlavi, who's literally standing by, ready to help the transition of Iran. And if others allow him to do what he needs to do, we will very soon, within the next 3 to 5 years, we will see how Middle East will go back to its very great days, not just Iran, but the entire Middle East. And with that, the Western countries will also have an ally in the heart of Middle East that will continue helping us grow and become better in our countries.
Yeah. Let's go to the next caller, and that would be Joe in Pennsylvania, line 4. Hi, Joe.
Hello. I'd like to ask Annie what she was thinking the other day when she was so excited that her people were revolting in the streets. She was cheering them on to go to their slaughter. The Islam is an infection that needs eradicated everywhere. I don't know where some people think that Democrats ran 2 clowns so that Trump would get elected and lead the MAGA people into following him, and slowly he would slide over into the weak position he's in today. They need eliminated, and we're going to have to fight a civil war to get rid of these scum that their only goal is to take over, control, and kill anybody who doesn't go along with it. I understand why Annie was excited. She's just wonderful with her reporting. She concentrates all her effort, and it's 100% accurate. I know Brannon has 10 other times things to think about, but I just can't tell you how much I appreciate it. But you cannot have a revolution without guns. Why can't America? Obama did the same thing and didn't give them any help, any weapons, anything to fight them. You cannot. They don't care if you scream yourself to death in the streets. They will slaughter you, just like they are doing.
Thank you.
So aggravating.
Thank you, Joe. Let me come back real quick. Because I hear what you're saying, but I want to clarify. When you were saying Annie was cheering the people to get into the streets, I want to have you clarify what you're asking there, because it seems like you're saying that the only way to defeat these people is to have uprising, use weapons, a civil war, if you will. But of course, the difference between America and Iran is we have the Second Amendment and we have weapons. They don't. So I want to clarify what it is. The question is to Annie, and then we come back. So don't go anywhere, Joe. Then we'll get to Christine and then to Sherry in Arizona. Don't forget, Crosstalk is coming up at 2 p.m. Central with Jim Schneider on over 100 outlets nationwide right here at vcy.org, vcy.org. And we'll be right back after this.
Life is too short to spend a single moment spinning in laundry worries. Take a load off your mind with the all-new Norwex Powerzyme laundry detergent. This natural detergent harnesses the power of enzymes and plant-based surfactants to leave fabrics fresh and clean without fillers, brighteners, synthetic fragrances, bleach, or harsh chemicals. So go ahead, have your cake and eat it too. More than ever, stressful stains have met their match. Powerzyme's fast-acting enzymes break down organic substances while natural surfactants loosen locked-in dirt and oil, removing residue, stains, and odors with ease. With 91% bio-based ingredients, this dermatologist-tested hypoallergenic formula is suitable for sensitive skin types and delivers a safe and effective clean that won't harm you or the planet's waterways. Less time spent worrying about laundry means you can focus on what truly matters. Norwex Powerzyme Laundry Detergent. Discover the power of nature and load up on confidence.
Before we go back to the caller here, Joe, we do have some good news. Broken Arrow, Oklahoma City Council voted to deny zoning change for the mosque proposed by the Islamic Society of Tulsa. Well, that sounds like very good news. We need some today, right? All right, let's go back to Joe. Joe, let me clarify your remarks, if you would, please, as to, would you?
Sure. All I was saying is that I know Annie was very excited that her people were in the streets, but I just thought at the time, oh, man, these people are, when the regime gets its act together, they are going to crush them. What are people thinking? I wrote you an email saying that, but you probably didn't see it. So you cannot overthrow this evil, demonic system with screams and fires. Please. And Trump is I think he's, just like Annie said, he has become a politician. And he is playing everybody right into this one world order with the 10 regions and all that. And why in the world did he save the Khomeini's life? This is absolutely insane. He's either out of, he's bought, he's corrupted.
I hope you'll call in more, Joe. I hope you'll call in more, because I love your passion. I love the fact that you just call it the way it is. I hope you'll call in more. Annie, respond to Joe here, will you please? He obviously appreciates all of your work, but I think his concern is, didn't we expect the regime to slaughter these people since they don't have guns?
Well, first of all, thank you for your kind words, and thank you for following my reporting. I have cheered my own slaughter for 10 years, but I have never stopped telling the truth. That's how I look at it.
Can we just clarify that for 1 second for those who don't understand? In other words, Annie, with the fatwas on her head, the threats, etc., she just keeps going. So she's not asking those people to do anything different than she is doing. Is that what I just heard? Okay.
Absolutely. And I'm still just as excited as I was day one. But if you have ever ran a marathon, you start very smiley, but your body catches up. Your timing catches up. We're in week 3. And if my face is sad, of course, my heart bleeds for every single person who has been killed from 47 years ago to today. But 90 million versus maybe 35,000 is still a good chance. This is where either America comes to rescue or not. Either Europe comes to rescue or not. And I agree with you. Weapons are needed. And I said from day one, when the time is right, there will be weapons to be used. And yes, it would be fantastic if we go in right now and stop the killing of the next person. But revolutions don't happen overnight. Even if the citizens are armed, revolution happens when we allow courage to spread by not giving up, by not giving in. So I hope that answers your question of what I'm thinking or where my heart and head is at.
Excellent.
I do still pray we go in and help, but even without it, this is possible.
Well, I'm just telling you what I think, and I agree with everything you just said. I think the response has to be tonight. I don't think we can let this slaughter continue. Something has to start happening tonight to throw the regime's attention away from rounding up people and slaughtering them. Would you agree?
Absolutely. As I said, I am still praying and I'm still looking at the clock. I am waiting for 5 o'clock-ish. I've been thinking that I might be on air on my own show when this goes down.
No, we'll bring you on here if we have to. We'll go late into the night.
Well, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern time is my show on your network.
Show. That's right. That's right. You'll be on the air.
I've been thinking we might be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, however, I will repeat what Crown Prince Pahlavi said. This is a war. This is a war. As much as these numbers are going to go up and you're going to see me get choked up and break down on camera or off camera again, but the hope is stronger than it has ever been in the last 47 years. And I ask my fellow Americans to stay as hopeful as we are. And though we know there's an easier way, but let's help them do it the way only available to them today.
Christine, line 1. Go, Christine.
Hi. appreciate everything, that's for sure. But Judge Saul, he's a missionary to Nigeria, and I have. You need to have him on, Brandon. You really need to have him on because he talks about the insane focus on the hatred of the Jews when not looking at the real enemy, which is Marxism and Islam. And the quote by Yuri Bezmenov is so absolutely, that's it. It's right there. That's it. It's so completely apropos. We don't want to know, and the church is quiet. We have missionaries to the Horn of Africa, all over Africa, and they will not even call the persecutors. They won't even say Islam. They won't even say Islam. That's how terrified the American church is to offend. Oh, that's how bad it is. So
Thank you.
Thank God for your show.
Thank you, Christine. Real quick, Sherry in Arizona. Hi, Sherry. Hi, Sherry.
Yes, I'm here. Hi.
Hi. You
Is
called
it
about...
my turn?
Yes, ma'am. It's your turn. You're on.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your show. I just wanted to agree with, I got in on this late, but I think it's Annie that's your guest today.
Yes.
Is that right?
That's right.
So I agree with Annie regarding Vice President Vance. I don't trust him. I just have a feeling that I just don't trust him.
I think it's
Now,
more than a
President
feeling,
Trump,
Sherry. I think it's your discernment. It's not a feeling. It's your discernment.
Yes, I agree. And I still have hope in President Trump. I listen to other news outlets that give a different view, of course, than the fake media. And I still have hope that President Trump is doing the right thing and that God is using him. But Vice President Vance, I don't have a good feeling about him, or my discernment tells me something isn't right with him. So thank you for taking my comments, and God bless you.
You too.
And VCR.
You too, VCY America. You too, Sherry. Thank you, Sherry, our big VCY station out there in Arizona. Okay. Annie, closing comment. Music's about to play.
Keep them in your prayers. Keep them in your prayers. Don't give up on them. Even if no strike comes today, Lord is still watching after the Iranian people. Keep praying for them.
Yeah, keep praying for them, and we're going to keep you posted. That's for sure. At Worldview Tube, we'll be covering this tonight, going live if necessary. So again, keep praying. We are still getting reports 1 hour old from Visegrad that in Tehran, the Islamic regime security forces are shooting protesters with live ammunition from assault rifles. That's only 1 hour old. All right, we'll keep it posted. Stay tuned for Crosstalk with Jim Schneider at vcy.org. Take care.
This has been...
And we're back with WROS out of Jacksonville, Florida. You here on Worldview Tube. Let me go to this video. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's 6 minutes long. I'll play it all. Here we go. That is 6 minutes of that, Annie. And now we got them on motorcycles coming in, knocking on the door. Guys busting into a building with motorcycles, and this footage is...
That's the police department.
That is the police department?
The sign you see there is the police department. Yes, they're regrouping. I guess it's the proper word. They're coming back to their station.
Okay. What do you make of this footage? Have you seen this?
I actually have seen the 22-minute video.
Really?
Yes, sir. The 22-minute video. And one of the things a lot of people are doing, as I said, Crown Prince Pahlavi said it, and President Trump emphasized on it today, but a lot of people are filming the police stations to capture faces, any information that can later be used to track these active shooters on the streets. So that's why you see they're keeping, before the group come back, there are 2 motorcycles inside. They're trying to capture those faces. Of course, the background and the gunshots are part of information, but a lot of people inside their homes are trying to capture police stations, Basij stations, morality police stations, all of those. So that's what's been captured.
I don't have time to follow the mainstream corporate media because I'm just too busy on the research and number of hours I'm on. What are the mainstream media covering?
I was just about to say, you don't need much time to follow them because they're touching on it with some sort of rainbows and unicorns, and then they're moving on to talking about other stuff.
How is Fox or Newsmax or One American News covering it?
Newsmax had, let me clean up my thoughts, had a person on their show talking about what's happening in Iran. An absolute anti-Pahlavi man who should not be on air, but Newsmax chose him to be their voice. Fox News has, of course, they have had Crown Prince Pahlavi on for short segments. But as far as their reporting
and Matt
on
Gaetz,
their
I'm being
website,
told by Logan, Matt Gaetz on, what's he on, Newsmax or One America News? He's on One America News. And Matt Gaetz had on an MEK person?
Yes.
Which again, for those who are new, that's the Marxist Islamic group, right?
It's more than that. MEK is the Marxist Islamist terrorist group. It's important because there are so many
designated as a terrorist group by our own government.
And they should be redesignated. With the attack in Los Angeles, California, they just, I don't know how many of your audience watched it, but Christine on camera said what the woman in Minnesota did is clear definition of domestic terrorism. She weaponized her car to run this agent over. Shouldn't the same law apply to the MEK driver with the U-Haul in LA? And instead of trying to run one person over, he was trying to run over thousands. And those people on LA streets are American citizens. You know what he's being charged with? Assault with vehicle, something like that. No, he should face terrorism charges, domestic terrorism, and with that, MEK should immediately be redesignated as a terrorist group in America.
Hold right there. Recent comments by President Trump. Here we go.
And by the way, to all Iranian patriots, keep protesting, take over your institutions if possible, and save the name of the killers and the abusers that are abusing you. You're being very badly abused. If the numbers are right now, I hear 5 different sets of numbers. I hear numbers. Look, 1 death is too much. But I hear much lower numbers, and then I hear much higher numbers. But I say save their names because they'll pay a very big price. Then I've canceled all meetings with the Iranian officials until the senseless killing of protesters stops.
All right, well, that's consistent with his written text. Now you heard it verbally. We'll be covering this more. Annie, 3 p.m. Central, 4 Eastern at Worldview Tube, and back tonight as well. Take care.
Introducing